Hi, guys. I'm David with Transparency Fitness Live, and today we're with Becca Pike, and I'm going to let her introduce you. This woman has done all kinds of things, and I'm just so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Oh, thanks for having me. My name is Becca Pike. I am a wife and a mom of 4. I am a forever athlete, so I was excited to come on the show with you and talk fitness as well. But I own Massage Strong here in Lexington and Hell Yes Coaching, which is an online business mentoring company.
Yeah. And you have a podcast as well.
I do have a podcast.
This is like the time to plug your podcast.
Yeah. Don't worry, I will.
Okay, good. It's a pretty awesome podcast. I've listened to a handful of episodes, and especially if you own a business, she has a lot of really good information. You just do a really good job of getting the right information out of people to help them move forward with their business.
Yeah, thank you.
So you mentioned you're an athlete. And honestly, I have no idea, outside all the business stuff you do, on the athletic side of things, what your sport or activity is, I guess.
Yeah, so in high school it was basketball and volleyball, and then I went to college and I did some boxing and bodybuilding. Yeah, I know. And now it's post-college. It's been CrossFit for years. I mean, I'm probably on my 9th year of CrossFit now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I've done CrossFit like 2 or 3 times, and that was more than enough for me.
Yeah. I know, right? It's hard. I've been doing it for 9 years, and I still can't do all the movements. Like, to this day, I still can't. There's things I just can't do.
Oh, yeah.
And I just accept it.
I'm obsessed with CrossFit. So do you keep up with the games?
I do.
I really want to like spend the weekend, get a hotel room, and actually go
to the games.
Yeah,
you should.
This year or next year, I think I'm going.
Yeah.
to.
What's funny is I was on a flight down to Miami not too long ago, and I got seated next to this guy that had CrossFit all over him. Like, he was just written in CrossFit. And I looked at his shoes, and they were Nobles, and I was like, okay, this guy's an athlete. He sits down. He's like a bodybuilder. And I'm just dying to ask him, as CrossFitters. Right. I've drank the Kool-Aid.
Well, you know what the old joke is? How do you know if someone's a CrossFitter? They'll let you know.
They'll let you know. Yeah, probably. So I lean over finally, and I'm just like, do you CrossFit?
CrossFit.
And he's like, yeah. And anyway, we get to talking. We hit it off. We have the best flight. We're just talking. He's talking business. We're talking CrossFit, whatever. And he's on his way down to Wadapalooza. And he was like, you're going down there for Wadapalooza, right? And I was like, no, I'm actually going down there for work. And he was like, why don't you follow me when we get off this plane? And I want to introduce you to someone that's picking me up. And I was like, okay. And so we get off the plane, and I follow him to the gates and out the door, and Noah Olson pulls up.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, Noah Olson is picking you up. And he was like, yeah, it's my buddy. It's like one of my best friends. Took pictures with Noah, hung out, high-fived, and then texted everyone I knew that I got to see Noah Olson. But I totally got starry-eyed for a minute.
My CrossFit hero is Tia Tuma, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And Matthew Frazier, of course.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. You can't get better than that.
You really can't. So I'm looking forward. I guess they're starting up here in this month. Did they already have the first? It's this month or the first week of April? And
ever since they switched the games around and changed up regionals and all that, I've had a hard time keeping up with it. Yeah, it still feels new to me. But yeah, it's coming up.
So, and I guess it doesn't feel as strong without Matthew in there for some reason. I think he would still be beating Maduros. So. Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird without him.
Just hitting things over here.
I know. Sorry, I've had a lot of caffeine.
So you've been doing CrossFit for 9 years. Where do you CrossFit here in town?
Right now I'm at CrossFit 859, and I've been at 859 for probably 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at CrossFit Maximus. I actually worked at Maximus.
Do you know Aaron Hopper?
Yeah, I'm really good friends with Aaron Hopper. Or I was. I mean, I haven't seen him in a while.
I haven't seen him forever. Well, I think he kind of got out of the workout game.
He still has Wildcat, doesn't he?
No, he sold it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he sold everything. So he went back to work wherever he was doing before the gym.
Oh, okay.
But he was probably one of my largest influences for getting into him and Chaz Clifford. I don't know if you know Chaz. He's another personal trainer. When I was in my 27, 28 years old, they were like huge influences in me getting into working out.
Yeah.
So.
yeah. Aaron and I, he used to come to Massage Strong back when I was still massaging, and you don't get to know someone better than in a massage room. When you're stuck in a room and it's quiet for an hour and they come to you once a week for a year, you know what I mean? Conversations happen. You end up getting to know people. It was one of my favorite things about the job back when I was doing that. And so I got to know Aaron really well. And then we both really enjoyed talking business. And so
Oh
we
yeah.
would.
Well, because he's always thinking about the next business to start.
Yeah,
his
he's a
brain
true
never stops.
entrepreneurial brain.
Yeah, it just never stops. He's always working on something.
Yeah, I agree.
So, have you ever competed in CrossFit, or has it just been more of just a fitness discipline for you, just to kind of stay fit, keep the mind healthy?
Yeah, I've done very small, like small town competitions, but no, I've never tried to go anywhere with it. I like it for the mental release. I like it for getting some of my competitiveness out of my body.
You already have so much on your plate.
Yeah, right. The last CrossFit competition I did, I was running out in the middle of the competition to my car to breast pump because I had a newborn. And then I would run back in and do some more competition. I'd run back out and I would pump. And we ended up getting first place, me and my teammate. It was crazy. I was like 8 weeks postpartum. So that was the last one I did.
You just found the secret.
Yeah, right?
For all moms out there that just had kids that do CrossFit.
Yeah. Your hormones are really pumping at that time. Good time to compete.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, I think if I ever did some kind of competition, I think team's the way to go. I'm all about community, and we do. You're welcome to come join us anytime. We do something called Sunday Fun Day every Sunday. It's my own version of, I guess, a HIIT workout and CrossFit combined. So, like, take a lot of the movements from CrossFit that I find to be safe to do multiple reps if you even have like bad form, and incorporate those, and then take stuff like some of the HIIT stuff and kind of make it more extreme and kind of mesh those together. That makes it safe and modifiable for any level.
Yeah, that sounds super fun.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
So we're actually in the middle of doing a 30-day cut where we're pretty much doing those kind of workouts like every day. Well, we're up to 5 days a week right now for the last 2 weeks.
Wow, that's crazy.
So anyways, so you also have Massage Strong, which you started about 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I would say it was about 5 years ago. Yeah, I started off just as a massage therapist. I went to Lexington Healing Arts Academy. I was working for a chiropractor for a while. And that chiropractor every Sunday would allow me to see my own people and keep 100% of the money because the office was shut down. And it was interesting. I feel like on those Sundays, a entrepreneurial beast was born because I was working Monday through Saturday for him, making, I don't know, $13, $14 an hour. And then on Sundays, I would get to see my own people, and that would equal, with tip, it was like $80 an hour. And so I would make more money on a Sunday than I would Monday through Saturday combined.
It's really hard to keep that Monday through Saturday up when you make more money.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I've
quit jobs when I make in a similar situation.
And I had never really been around business owning. I didn't read books at that point on business. Like, I just didn't know much about it. But I was like, wait a minute. So, like, I could go rent a room and I could make this Sunday money every day and not ever work for someone else again. Yeah. Like, it was like a light bulb went off. And then I did. And the rest was history.
Yeah. And people out there, if you've got an idea, you've got a plan, like, I really don't be scared to make some efforts towards making that happen.
Or be scared and do it anyway.
Or be scared.
That's what I did.
Yeah. I think most people, unless you just have something really going good for you, or you have something to fall back on if it fails. I mean, it's a big jumping off point when you quit your job. I've quit my job probably 3 or 4 different times to go out on my own, and about 2 or 3 years ago was the last time I did it, and I've yet to have to go back to a conventional job that I want to.
Yeah.
So it feels really good when you get going and you can pay for everything, and you're doing what you want, But for some people, they're fine doing the 9 to 5. They like whatever they're doing, and that's fine for them.
I don't think everyone wants to be an entrepreneur.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress.
For the ones that do, and like it, like it's in your heart, it's in your soul.
Yeah.
Like, you can't deny how you feel about it. Like, I knew I was an employee for a long time, doing odd jobs here and there. And I was always a good employee. I showed up on time. I had a good attitude. But I knew deep down that I never wanted to have a boss again. Like, there was something in me that was like very fierce. And when I finally learned how to channel that energy and I started reading business books and listening to business podcasts and stuff, like, I was like, oh, I'm never going back.
When did you realize? Like, at what point was it at that point when you realized the difference? Like, I could be making more money and I could do it on my terms.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy, but like, it just had never occurred to me. Like, I just didn't know how business owning worked. I just didn't. And so I started from literally square one. I was like, okay, like, I I can rent a place. I know how to do that. I know how to rent. So
Right.
I'm going to find a room that I can rent, and I'm going to charge money for my massages. And that's as far as it went. I had like a paper notebook where I kept people like scheduled, like a paper schedule. And other than that, I didn't know how to run a credit card. I didn't know that I needed like a business banking account. I didn't know that I needed an LLC or an EIN number. Like I just slowly and gradually figured all of that out.
Same here.
And then one day I did that for, I don't know, probably a year, where I was just seeing my own people, and I was making what I felt like was the most amazing money you could ever make. I was so thankful. I couldn't believe it. And then it was my brother-in-law that actually said to me, you know, you're going to hit a ceiling. Like at some point you're going to hit a physical ceiling where you can't massage any more people. And when you hit that, you also will be in a scenario where you can't go on vacation, you can't take maternity leave, you can't do anything that you want to do without stopping your pay. And I had never thought of that. And I was like, well, I don't know, like employing people isn't for me. It's not something that I know how to do. Like I wouldn't even know the first thing. But the seed was planted, and I started thinking a lot about how that would look. And I ended up hiring my first person. It was so sloppy. I didn't know what I was doing. I put like an ad out on Facebook.
A lot of people, that's what they do though. It's like you've just got to do it.
Yeah.
And then you'll make that mistake. You're going to make mistakes. And then you've got to be like, all right, not doing that again.
Well, and then so I ended up hiring this guy named Tim, who still works for me to this day.
Okay.
He's still at Massage Strong. He's
So,
one of
so
the
your
top,
first hire was a good hire then.
Yeah, he's still a top dog. He gets booked out for weeks in advance. His deep tissue is amazing. And I remember being like, holy shit. Oh, can I cuss on this podcast? Sorry.
Of course.
Holy baloney. I can't believe that I would go home and I was a new mom, right? Half of the time I was building this business, I was like waddling around super pregnant. But I was a new mom, and I had never gotten home at like 4:30 or 5. Like that had never, I had always worked into the night. I always was like a cocktail waitress. I would do my massages until 9 p.m. Like I just hustled for as much money as I could possibly get. And I remember being like, oh, I'm going to go home at 5. I'm going to pour a glass of wine, and Tim is going to continue to see clients, and that money is going to continue to flow into my bank account, even when I'm at home drinking wine. And from that point, I never stopped hiring. I think I hired like 35 people in the next 3 years, and the rest was history.
Wow. Wait, so you have 35 employees now?
I have more than that now, yeah.
Really? I did not realize that it had grown that much. Now, is the Manchester location still the same size? You haven't expanded any of the locations, have you?
Well, so when I started, I was in a one-room facility. And then when I hired Tim, we shared that facility. And then I hired like 3 more people, and we outgrew it. So I went into a 2-room facility, which we could have like a morning and an evening person in each room. You could handle like 4 massage therapists. But I was only there for 6 weeks because we grew so fast. So I moved into a 5-room facility on next to White Castle on, Reynolds Road. Yeah, right next to White Castle. Yeah. And we were there for about a year, and then we built a brand new facility down in Manchester, which is 9
really
rooms.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we built another 9-room in Brannan. So now we have 18 rooms. We can host about 40 to 55 massage therapists total.
Now, the reason I even found out about you guys originally, when I reached out to you guys about doing some video work way back when, before the pandemic hit and ruined everything, you guys did you guys do a bunch of YouTube and Facebook spending for it, ad spending at one point in time?
Yeah, we spend.
Or you probably
ads.
still do it now,
yeah.
But that's what that actually your ads were pretty good, because that's what pulled me in. I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of a cool place, you know?
Yeah.
Because of the way that you guys really presented yourself as more like, hey, if you're an athlete or someone that isn't just an everyday person that's beating up on their body more than normal in the gym, like we specialize in helping people like you out.
Yeah.
Which I think that you can have multiple massage therapists, but they can have very specific disciplines that they're really good at.
That's
specifically
correct.
Within that. Same thing like whatever a doctor wants to become a surgeon or whatever their specialty is.
Yeah.
And so that really spoke to me as an athlete.
Well, and this is, the birthing of my ideas on simplicity and constraint with business. And before the mics turned on, you and I were already talking about constraint a lot. But one of the reasons Massage Strong did so well was because I wanted it to be simple. We offer deep tissue massage, and that's it, period. Like, this is where you come for deep tissue. This is where you come for pain relief. This is where you come for like that physical therapy aspect of it. And we had tons of people chirping in our ears saying, hey, why don't you offer Swedish? Why don't you offer waterfall? Why don't you offer ashiatsu? Like all these other things. And they didn't align with the brand that I was trying to create. Would we have made some money offering those things? Yeah, for sure. But like, would it have diluted the brand that I was trying to build?
Right.
Absolutely. And now, because we practiced constraint, because we left money on the table and like didn't bite onto that.
So sticking to your original business game plan.
And having an actual, like having a niche and sticking with it,
Right.
and then hiring quality massage therapists to reflect exactly what I was looking to build.
So when do you know, as a business, when do you know, or when would you think you would know that if like, okay, I'm sticking to these goals and this is, and at some point in time you look back and you're like, or you look at it and you're like, well, we might need to vary this way as well, because this could be a really good revenue stream, or not, or kind of stick to the goals. Because at some point in time too, there's got to be growth within the business to move along with just society in general, right? As things change. So when do you know to maybe go down a different path because it's the right path? It's time to make a change, right?
One of the biggest problems that I see with entrepreneurs, one of the reasons that most people aren't very successful, is because when they're not seeing the success that they want to see, they're not bringing in the money they want to see, they assume that it's circumstantial.
Right.
They assume that they need to change circumstances. They need to offer a new service. They need to go a different route. They need to speak a different way. And when you do that, you stop problem solving for the original thing and you start all over. So instead of changing circumstances, I have my business coaching clients stay simple, stay exactly where they are, and problem solve and figure out why it's not working.
Okay.
Right? So like everyone that has a business, I believe, it doesn't matter what you offer. I don't care what you offer. I don't care what platform. I don't care if you're doing it on LinkedIn or Instagram, if your main source is through YouTube, whatever it is. I don't care if you're selling spoons or podcast equipment or massages. Doesn't matter. The service and the avenue don't need to change, period.
Okay.
And the minute that you start changing it, you're taking your energy and you're diluting it all over the place. Constraint is what makes people very successful. So like, people come to me all the time. They're like, hey, your coaching company, you should have a YouTube video. You should have this. You should do all these things. You should do this. The reason that my podcast has become so successful so fast is because I haven't done any of that, right? I have stayed the course. I've learned everything I need to know. And then the minute that it starts slowing down, if there's a problem, if, let's say my sales go down, instead of changing the circumstances, I change myself. I make myself the common denominator.
Okay.
And I go in and I problem solve for what I'm not doing or what I'm doing that is creating the plateau.
So you'd mentioned to me earlier that you only try to stick with a couple platforms.
Yeah.
So you don't do anything with YouTube then, and the podcast, like there's nothing there.
I think my marketing team has a YouTube channel for me, but it's not something we're trying to grow. It's like where they just house a bunch of my stuff.
Okay, so they're at least putting something up. So if anybody's searching for you on YouTube, there is some of your content out there.
Maybe. I've never even typed my name into YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what's out there.
Fair enough. Because in my personal opinion, you should have a YouTube channel. And you should have content on there. Now, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be something that you're trying to grow per se, but just having that there, it's just another set of eyes. Because, I mean, what if that gets you another 1,000 views a year and that gets you one more client?
Maybe. Or
and you could
take that energy and you could put it into one platform.
Right.
You could completely delete all thoughts and energy about YouTube. Let's say that your platform is podcast. You have a podcast right now.
Right.
I'm on it, right? So like
you are.
You could I am here right now. But you could take that exact energy of starting your YouTube and thinking about your YouTube and putting stuff on YouTube, and you could instead problem solve for how to get more ears onto this podcast. Now, I'm not saying either one's wrong. You
Right.
could do 1,000 different platforms if you want. But your energy dispersed across 1,000 different platforms would go a lot further on one.
Yeah. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I guess the way I look, and I don't know if you do video at all for yours as well. So like video, since we do video for ours, it's a little bit more intuitive to put it on YouTube because that's a good video platform.
Right.
So, but if you had video content and your marketing team was already trying to, and they could put a little bit of time into cutting it up, because once you put a little bit of time into cutting it up, and once it's on there, You don't have to work on it again,
Right.
unless you're trying to build that platform.
Yeah.
So in the long run, the idea is that it would get you more. Like, it might be a little bit more time initially, but in the long run, it would pan out to where it's a lot less time. It is the way I think of it.
Yeah, and it might be that your platforms are podcast and YouTube, and those are your two main things, for sure. But just something to remember, like every avenue that you have is its own business. And trying to grow 7 different avenues is literally trying to grow 7 different businesses, because you have 7 different audiences with 7 different marketing like techniques that you need to figure out, with 7 different like types of messaging, because like the messaging that you put on Instagram is very different than what you would put on LinkedIn. You got to learn that. And it's across the board, just, I believe I'm a big advocate for constraint and like running the same direction consistently, as opposed to stopping and branching off several different ways. And so far, it's been extremely successful.
And of course, why would you stop what you're already doing?
Yeah.
I was just interested to kind of see where you're coming from in that aspect. Because I guess I kind of, I look at it like you, for me, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I think that at least as a personal trainer and a production and running the production company, I feel like I need to be on all 4 of those platforms. But a lot of this stuff outside of the verbiage for each one is the same content. Yeah. And so once I've created one thing, then it's easy for me to get it out to all the other platforms.
I also feel like I don't want to be influenced by the next up and coming thing, because there's going to be 70 more LinkedIns and TikToks over the course of my life that get really big, that everyone's going to be in my ear telling me that I should be doing it. And if I like step into those and become successful simultaneously, I'm going to always feel like I need to keep up with the Joneses. I'm going to always feel like I need to keep up. And it's going to have this, what I call like Chihuahua energy, where you're like hustling, trying to like do all these things, when you could have what I call like lioness energy or lion energy, where you're like, no, this is my avenue. I'm going to master this, and I'm going to quiet the noise while I make a shit ton of money and build these empires, right?
That makes sense. Now, would you ever step into a platform after just kind of like over time seeing that this, YouTube looks like it's going to stick around, so or Instagram or whatever, right? And being like, okay, maybe this is an idea to join the platform, because I see that it's not going anywhere for a while, and that maybe this could work. Like, I'm
absolutely.
More of like an educator, or more of just like a, viewing it ahead of time, kind of seeing if it's a good fit or not.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between joining a platform because you genuinely want to and think it's fun and you've done your research, as opposed to like people think you should.
Following the crowd.
Right, following the crowd.
Because there's been a lot of things that have died off that didn't really have the longevity, like social media wise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I had my way, I'd just say, let's get rid of social media altogether.
That would be interesting.
It would.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out ways in which I can back off social media myself. Like, I have a team running my Instagram account and stuff. I still get on there sometimes, but I really love not being on social media, like what it does for my brain and my...
It's amazing. But the problem is, I also feel like, you need to kind of not constantly, because I'm not constant. It may be a day or two in between posts, as far as like on stories and stuff. But I feel like, I think it's good. I'll have a story post about this just because I think it's good promotion for both of us and to let people know what we're doing and what I'm doing. So it's figuring out that balance.
I like to post and ghost. So
post and ghost,
no scrolling and taking in, but more just like I'm posting and I'm out.
Right. So and that's the thing. I mostly just do the story post, and then I have someone, we get together once a week, we shoot content, and then he posts that all the next week.
Yeah. Cool.
So that way I don't have to worry about the main posts. Just making sure there's some stuff on the stories.
Yeah.
So what would you say some of your biggest mistakes or things that you fumbled on early on that you've learned from, that maybe you could just give out some pointers for some people out there thinking about starting a business? I mean,
oh man, I've made a lot of mistakes. So many.
But I feel like you've taken story of them more than the average person.
Yeah. So I just did a podcast episode on this. So this is what sticks out to me the most right now.
Okay.
In the beginning of Massage Strong, like not really understanding how to manage people, not really understanding how to hire properly. So like I think, and I see this happen a lot with a lot of my business coaching clients. Right. They hire someone to solve a problem for them instead of them solving it themselves and then hiring someone to put it into action, right? So a lot of times people will come to me and they'll be like, I need to hire someone because I can't figure out how to do X, Y, and Z. But the problem with that is that they're the leader. The business owner is the leader. And so it's important that they stay the head of the company and they hire hands, right? So there's a difference between heads and hands. The heads are the problem solvers. The hands are the implementers and the laborers that put into action what the head decided, right? So when that gets mixed up, it can cause a lot of tension.
So
right?
if you hire someone and then kind of give them too much control,
no,
or not, maybe
even
not
saying
control,
that.
but
It's more like it's lazy managing to say, I have this problem that I don't feel like figuring out, so I'm going to hire someone to figure it out for me. But the problem with that is that you're hiring someone and you're giving them no direction. You're giving them you're just hoping that they solve this problem for you. They could solve it 1,000 different ways, right? But you haven't told them how to do it. Instead of saying, okay, I want to solve this problem.
So you need to know the problem.
Here's the problem. Here's the solution. And here's what needs to be done to implement it. Now I'm going to hire someone to implement it.
Okay.
Right? And a lot of times people don't realize that this is what's happening when they're upset with their hires. They hire people and then they're upset because they're like, well, Annie isn't doing what I wanted her to do. I wanted her to solve this problem. But it's
so did this happen specifically to you? Did you have...
This happens to a lot of people.
Right.
But yeah, this happened to me too. I definitely had a hard time letting go of control. I felt like I was letting go of quality. It was such a backwards way of thinking now that I have managed at this point 100 people. Now I can go back in hindsight and I can see all the mistakes that I made. But yeah, it's just hiring people to solve problems will bring a lot of friction between the two of you.
You want to hire people.
You want to hire people to implement problems you've already solved. You want to keep yourself the head and have them be the hands. Now, if you're hiring another head, that's like a COO or a CFO or someone that is in a very high-end experienced position.
Where they can help
where
you.
They can come in and actually help you problem solve.
Okay.
But you don't want to hire a $10 an hour receptionist and ask them to solve all your problems for you and then not understand why it's not working.
So know what you need when you're hiring somebody.
Know exactly what you need and
if
what
you need
exactly
a receptionist,
they should be doing.
then you've already solved the problem in a manner of speaking, and now you're implementing having a receptionist take care of scheduling or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I see it happen all the time. I coach a paint company, and they were out doing bids, and they hired someone to do their bids for them, but there was a lot of problems within that, and
of course,
the person didn't know. There's just such a lack of communication. But when you're the business owner, it's hard to see that. Things that you think are very simple, you think other people should think they're simple, but they don't know that, right? And so
that's
communication.
That's why I have Keenan running everything.
Right.
Because if I think it's simple,
Keenan's the man.
He also thinks it's simple.
Yes.
He's got it figured out. He probably is like, why doesn't David think this is more simple?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. And I over my years, the only time I hire people is when I just hire contractors. So for the production company, if I need another camera guy or I just need another assistant or helper, I just hire someone for that specific, and then that's it. So I've never actually had to hire anybody that I'm paying on a weekly or monthly basis, outside of, my social media people and stuff like that. But that's exactly what I'm hiring them for, to fix that social media problem, or not fix it, but to implement it, because I already know that I need it.
Right. Yeah.
So, oh man, you have done so much. So how did you figure out that, after running this massage envy, I can't even say Massage Strong.
I own all the massage
if it starts with massage, she owns it. Massage Strong. How did you know that you wanted to start helping people with business, right? So we haven't really touched on the aspect of not only talking about your business, but this is what you do to help people. You get out there and help them, grow their business on top of the 20 other businesses you got going.
Yeah, absolutely. So to be honest, it just started with Massage Strong was doing really well, and I think that my friends and my family and people around me were really noticing. And especially people that were coming in to still get massages by me. I was, still massaging at the point in which I had the Manchester location and we were building out the Brandon location. Things were happening very fast. And I would have people come in and get massages from me. They knew that I was the owner and they wanted to pick my brain on business. And I loved that. I loved when people wanted to pick my brain on business. As you can tell, I want to talk about it all the time. It really fires me up to talk about it. The problem was that so many people wanted to pick my brain, and it got to the point where I was helping people with their businesses, which genuinely, I genuinely liked doing it, but I was getting so many requests that I was turning people away. And I was like, listen, I'm going to coffee like 3 times this week already.
So were you talking to some of the people you were massaging, and like
Yeah.
they would like, they own businesses and they
Yep.
would like bounce something off of you?
That's
and then
exactly right.
And then you'd be like, well, why don't you try this? And they're like, I like it.
Yeah, and they were like, I'm getting a lot of really good, and then
it's like-
people started telling me that they were coming to get massages from me so that they could talk about business.
It's a pretty good trade-off. You get a
I mean, it felt a lot like I was giving a lot.
Right. Which to a certain extent, that's what a massage therapist does, but maybe not at that level.
Maybe not at an experienced business mentoring level.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, well, and people were asking me to go to coffee outside of massage. And anyway, long story short, I went to my husband one morning and I told him, I was like, I've got another coffee date today. Someone that owns a granite company, like a granite countertop company. And, I just give a lot of information for free, and I'm doing this a lot, and it's kind of feeling like it's a part-time job, and I just wish there was a way I could monetize it. And he was like, oh yeah, you can. That's called business coaching. And I was like, that's not real. There's no such thing as that. I ended up doing some Googling, found out what business coaching was, and I had my first client by the end of the day. I went to the granite counter coffee date, and I said, hey, listen, I know you like picking my brain. Would you like to do this on a regular basis? We could meet once a week.
And he owns a granite counter?
Yeah.
It's not. His name's not G.J. Gerard, is it?
It's not.
Okay.
No.
I know a guy that owns a granite counter company here in town. So
Yeah.
that's what I was like, oh man, that'd be crazy.
No, it's not. It wasn't him. And she ended up saying, yeah, I would love that. How you name the price, I want to talk to you as much as I can. And that's where it started. And again, like, to say a beast was born would be an understatement. I went home and I was like, I could do this. Like,
did it feel right to you?
Oh,
did it
God.
feel like, did you just, because that's sometimes, that's one of the greatest feelings is when you're doing something on your own and you're just like,
good.
you're like, oh, this is what
Well, I had learned business from the school of hard knocks. Like, I
Right.
learned it the right way. I didn't go and get a business degree.
You physically had to deal with it.
I had to
day
do
day.
it. There is not a single business degree on this planet that could have prepared me the way that throwing myself into Massage Strong did. And I knew that I had a lot to offer, and I knew that there was a lot of people out there that were, starting businesses and just learning how to get their business going and how to market it and how to manage people and just everything that goes into business making. And I knew I had a lot to offer. I knew I loved doing it, and it felt like an obvious yes. Like, they're going to pay me $1,000 a month, but they're going to receive $4,000 to $5,000 more dollars a month because of me. Like, it just felt
Right.
like a very obvious transaction. And the results that my customers started getting, I was watching these companies grow massively. I helped an aesthetics practice get off the ground for the very first time. Within a year, they were pulling in 7 figures a year. I helped other massage places in Lexington grow to multiple 6 figures. And then not only that, but my business philosophy is that your business shouldn't own you. So I was telling you earlier before the mics were on, like, I run my businesses in a way that allow me to have a lifestyle and have hobbies and like have free time
freedom.
and raise my kids.
That's why you did this, right?
Yeah, and most people,
At least for most of us, that's why we did
most
it.
people want that, but then they find themselves in a situation where they are slaves to their business and they don't know how it happened. And I teach people how to get out of that.
Well, and I think step one is realizing that you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's actually stepping back and being like, oh yeah, these 10.
Well, and realizing that you can get out of it. For a lot of people, they're like, no, I'm here. Like, I can't, that nobody else can do what I do. Nobody else can run it the way I run it. And it's just this shitty belief that they've been telling themselves.
And anything can be taught.
Yeah, of course.
If you know how to do it and you find the right person, you can teach that person
and the
to do it.
truth is, other people can probably do it better. For a long time, I held on to every role at Massage Strong. And then when I finally hired out, I was like, oh, this person does it way better than me because they're not wearing 100 hats. They're
Right.
wearing one.
Right.
And
they may have more experience in that one specific job over time than you do just doing it 100, trying to do everything.
Absolutely.
So have you had clients that that really haven't listened to you, or it's been difficult to get through to them, and they feel like they haven't been as successful because of that? Because I feel like you're going to get some of these people, business owners are very have a very alpha kind of personality. I feel like at least a lot of them do.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to like be comfortable having someone take a look and be vulnerable to that. And like,
yeah.
And then when you get told like this isn't a good idea, you're like, well, in my head it was, because you made that decision to make that, to do that.
Yeah, people land all over the spectrum. I mean, if it's a spectrum, we've got people on one end that are like, anything you say, I'll do. Like, I'm just ready to do whatever you say.
And I bet you those are your most successful people in most cases.
They are. And then there's other people that it's almost as if they gave me the money hoping that alone was going to change their business.
Right.
Like, I'm going to
they weren't going to have to work anymore.
Like, I did it. I hired a coach. Like, surely my business will do better. You know what I mean? And so I have to get on those people. And for some people, they weren't ready to change anyway.
Right.
And they wanted to, but they just weren't ready. And so...
Because it probably means more work in a way, right? To a certain extent, for some people, it may mean going back and fixing some things and putting in a little bit more time so that you're in a better position down the line. So initially it could be...
Well, coaching, no matter how you approach it, like I can approach it the most polite way possible, but it can feel very triggering because... An entrepreneur has created this piece of art. I think of business as art. You literally take scratch and you build like staff and marketing. You build it. It's an art. And so here's this reflection of them that they have spent hours and years perfecting to their liking. And then someone comes in that has a helicopter view from 3,000 feet up and is like, hey, this thing you're doing over here, like this is wasting a lot of time. This is wasting a lot of money. This is what you could be doing differently. And it can feel very triggering. And so to me, it's not even that they have to do more work. A lot of times they do less work. When you hire a business coach, you end up having less work on your plate because you have another brain to bounce ideas off of. But it requires significantly more like emotional, like vulnerability and change. And with change comes a lot of emotions.
Yep. And some people, I don't like change that much. Most of us don't like too much change.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been doing it now for?
I'm in my third year.
In your third year. Wow.
Yeah.
So what's kind of the process? What do you, from like day one to, I guess people, do they pay monthly or do you do packages? Like,
yeah.
I mean, what are kind of the steps that you go through to help some of the people that you can talk about without giving too much information out?
Well, I have 3 levels of business advice giving. So the first one is my podcast. It's my freebie. This is how most people get to know me. It's called The Hell Yes Entrepreneur. People come in there. They can listen for free. I'm on there every single Wednesday. All the business advice you can imagine. From there, if they are ready to step into a paid version, they can come into what I call 3 More. So 3 More is my beginner's business class. And this is all about acquiring clientele and customers. Because to me, that is the very basis of having a business. You don't need to be worrying about all the back end stuff until you have a steady flow of customers. So they can come into 3 More. That is a lifetime access program. It's $1,500. They get access to all of the videos in which I'm teaching them how to gain more clients, how their money mindset changes the way that they are magnetizing clients or deflecting clients, how to run a proper consult, how to handle when your client has objections, like all the things that are going to give you a strong basis of customers.
Okay.
So that's 3 More. And then I have a more advanced group. This is for business owners who have made at least $50,000 of revenue in their business in the last year. It's much more advanced. We have multiple 6-figure earners. We have 7-figure earners in there. That's called 30 More. And that is a 6-month business mastermind.
Okay. And then how do you identify... I mean, is it a lot of just asking questions and then bouncing stuff back and forth and slowly working through things? Is that what a lot of those one-on-one meetings are when you do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I no longer do one-on-one coaching.
Oh, okay.
So
everything's online-based.
Yeah. Well, so it was kind of like at Massage Strong, right? Like I hit a ceiling I
yeah.
physically couldn't do anymore. I was maxed out. Same thing happened with business coaching. I couldn't see any more people. So now it is 3 More is a program. So we have 100 people in there. They have access to all the videos. And then every Tuesday, they can come and sit down for an hour and get coaching on anything that they want, right? And then inside of 30 More, it's a much more intimate group. There's only about 12 people in that. We meet in person at the beginning of the 6 months, and we do this like 3-day intensive where we figure out their plan for the next year, exactly what they're shooting for, exactly what they're doing. And then we spend the next 6 months meeting on Zoom to do business coaching every Thursday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are staying busy. And so that's kind of your main focus now. I mean, you've got some of these other businesses, but that is like your main focus is just coaching people and helping them. So how has your coaching style changed over the years? Because, I mean, you've been doing this for 3 years. I know even this business you've made mistakes on, and you've learned things from like just learning how to coach people, right?
Yeah, I've learned how to not offend so many people. I'm very much a no bullshit person, to the point where I don't even know if I have like a normal amount of emotional awareness when it comes to like having conversations. Like when I see a problem in a business, I tell it, and I've learned to say it in a way that has a lot more compassion, I think, than I used to. I just didn't know that I was.
I'm a blunt person too. So
by the way, I don't think I was offending a lot of people. This is just, I don't think that was actually happening. But I think that over time I have really smoothed out the edges.
So you've learned how to communicate better with people so that they maybe are more receptive to your thought patterns and thought process for their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And realizing that everything that I know isn't actually as simple as I think it is, that it's their first time hearing it too, and like to hold the space and have the compassion for them. But my business coaching approach, I don't think has changed that much. Like I still am pretty much no bullshit. Like I think that there are coaches out there that their whole goal is to be an accountability partner and to, help their clients feel good about what they're doing. My goal is not that. I'm not an accountability partner. I don't hold anyone accountable. You come into my programs, you learn what I have, and then if you have questions, I just tell you exactly what I think. And that style is very conducive for a lot of people, and it's not for a lot of people as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I hear that if you're doing marketing properly, you are going to polarize. You're going to have people that are very attracted to you and people that really don't like you.
Oh, I think that's
how
just
you
the
know
world.
You're doing it right.
That is literally the world. You could be the most perfect person in the world, but there'd be a handful of people that don't like you.
Yeah, for sure.
So where do you want to go with this? I mean, what's next? How do you want to grow it? I mean, what do you?
So the change that I made, it's 2022. In 2021, I decided to make it way more scalable. So it was all one-on-one. I had a max ceiling. I knew that I couldn't do that any longer. Like I didn't have anywhere to go from that. So I wanted to have my life back a little bit. I wanted to have more free time, right? Exactly what I preach. So I created 3 more and 30 more, which has no ceiling whatsoever. It can build as big as I want it to be. I can have 3,000 people that come into 3 more tomorrow and my life wouldn't change, right? So I coach on Tuesdays in 3 more. I coach on Thursdays inside of 30 more. I do my podcast, and this is exactly where I want to stay. I'm going to grow both of these packages, both of these as far as I decide I want to go. And I kind of have my hobbies in my life back. Other than that, I like read books, I garden, I go on hikes. I'm living the best life right now.
That is what we're all trying to do here.
Yeah.
At least that is the attempt, right?
Yep.
Well, that's amazing. That you are at that place at your age, just loving life. So how many kids do you have?
4.
Yeah. 4 kids. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And
yeah.
you're doing all this.
Yeah.
This is impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. Like there are times that I was not having fun. Like when I was maxed out at Massage Strong and trying to build it, like I was seeing 25 one-on-one massages, which physically is like impossible. And I was pregnant and I was building. Like that was hard and I did not like it. And then when Hell Yes Coaching, I took on all these clients. I was just so excited at the possibilities. And before I knew it, I looked up and I had like 30 coffee dates every week. And I was exhausted and I was missing my kids. And I had gotten myself back in the same position that I was in just like 2 years before. And I was like, this is not what I wanted. This is not how I want to coach business. This is not how I want to help people.
Well, how do you realize that? How do you realize you're like, oh wow, I need to step back and I need to take my own advice here, right?
Yeah, of course. I think it's
hard
just
to identify that sometimes, though.
Yeah, you're not. There was a point where I wasn't able to go on a field trip with one of my kids because I had to work, and like I wasn't able to take this one to the dentist because I had to work, and then I really just wanted to go lay in the pool for the day, but it was like the 14th day in a row that I was working. Like when you know,
Yeah.
And it was just like I was like, I'm done. And the truth is that I coach better in my groups anyway. And I had a lot of resistance to that. I thought, no, these people need one-on-one mentorship. But that was all that I knew. That's what I had sold myself on.
But I would guess they would help each other in groups.
Well, they do.
You're not the only one that probably comes up. You're probably not the only one that comes up with some random idea. Someone says something and someone on the other side of the group's like, hey, what about this?
Yeah. Well, and if you're sitting in a group, let's say that there's 10 of us at this table, this person's going to ask a question that pertains to you, even if they're in a totally different industry. They're going to say something and ask and get coaching on something that you need to hear as well,
Right.
as long as you're capable of flipping their question into your own life, right? Like being able to say that's their question, but I'm going to figure out how this pertains to me as well. And I'm going to receive coaching from that person right now just by watching. And so you end up getting way more coaching being in a group and way more camaraderie and community. And like, I just had sold myself so long on one-on-one being the best thing you could do, when this whole time, like, group,
It's more fun.
it's more fun. People are getting bigger results. And the more people that are becoming successful in the group, the other people are seeing that it's a possibility, seeing how they're doing it. They start mimicking it, and it's contagious. And so right now, inside of like take example, my more advanced group, 30 more, 100% of them last round, when we finished, 100% of the graduates had doubled their annual revenue and ended up working significantly less hours than the year before. 100% of them. And I don't think that they would have done that if it was one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We do my favorite workout of the week is Sundays when we do my group. It's my group, me and my friends, and we just hit it as hard as we can because we push each other. And everyone works out so much harder than we do the rest of the week because like you're hanging out with your buddies. You can't be weak. You know.
That's right.
So I think there's just something about a group energy. Also, everyone's on the same mindset, right? So everyone in your group is there for the same exact purpose. They want to grow their business.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be around a bunch of people that want to do the same thing you want to do?
Yeah, and also they're in different industries, which is such an advantage because when you're in one industry, you get kind of like put in this bubble, and every industry has its own culture, right? Like the coaching business culture is very different than the way that mechanics grow their business, right? And the way that house painters grow their business. And so when you put them in a group, they start like describing ideas to each other, communicating ideas that some of the industries had never even heard of. They're like, what does that mean? Like, this is something real estate agents do, but we don't do it in the coaching industry. And then they're able to swap those ideas. And it's really fun to watch. One of my members just said to me the other day, she was like, she's also a business coach. And she was like, I always was in business coaching masterminds with other business coaches. And it was a lot like an echo chamber. Like we were just all kind of echoing the same ideas to each other. She was like, but now that I'm in here and I'm listening to what mechanics do and real estate agents and CPAs, she was like, this is gold.
Now, do you do anything for further education for yourself? Like, is there any kind of systems that you have where you set aside time to go listen to a podcast, watch a video, do something that you know is going to help you grow as a coach?
Yeah, I probably sponge more knowledge than
Okay.
anyone I know. So yeah, I listen to podcasts every day, all the time. I have my own business coach. I meet with my own mastermind. It's called the $2 Million Group. This is a group of 13 women. We get together once a quarter. We fly out to see each other. I go to Tony Robbins events, Business Mastery.
So you're constantly trying to learn and add more value for your clients.
Yeah, I just love it for myself, if I'm being honest.
And it helps you grow your own business.
If I'm being honest, it's just fun. It's what I want to talk about. Yeah.
Do you take time to sit back and just reflect on your business and where you're at? Like, I try to do that every couple of weeks if I can.
Yeah, I haven't worked in like 3 weeks today as of right now. Like I just haven't. Yeah, everything's going super smooth. Everything's going really well.
You're kind of working today? You're working hard today.
I would say that this is like the first thing I've done in a long time. But yeah, I'm a huge advocate of taking time off. That's when I become the most creative. Like when I take time off work, I'll take off 3 weeks here and there, probably every other month or so. And when I say take time off, that literally just means my companies continue to do their thing. They're doing everything that, they're supposed to be doing. I'm just not in the nitty-gritty of the everyday.
Right.
And every time I do this, I come back more creative. I come back rested. I come back stronger.
See, I get bored really easy. Yeah. And while I'm bored,
you should have 4 kids.
Or not. But the boredom helps me because then when I start to get bored, like if I take a couple of days off, I'm just like, I just need to take a break, right? So this weekend, I don't have any plans, Saturday, Sunday. By the time Monday hits, I've already probably thought of an idea of something because I'm just like, oh, man.
You can't be creative unless you're bored.
Yeah, because when you're bored, then you start thinking about like, well, what's the thing I'm interested in? Oh, my business.
Yeah.
What I want to make more money. Oh, what if I what if I did this? And that's how I've come up that, or right before I fall asleep, I come up with ideas sometimes.
Yep.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's because your brain's cleared out. Same reason you get them in the shower too.
Yeah. And I have a little.
We don't allow our brains to get cleared out like that. We have this like phone in our hands all the time, and the moment that we feel any sort of boredness, we start scrolling, and it just completely takes away any chance of
TikTok's
creativity.
so much fun.
It is.
But yes, no, I definitely agree with that. Yeah. So maybe that's what I need to do once a month. It's no phone for a month, or not for a month, but like once a month for a day.
Well, just something that I love to do is like I'll go down to do my work in my office, and I'll put my phone. I literally like hide it. Like I'll put it on the couch behind a pillow. Like I'm like, okay, it's over there across the room, and I will do my work for like 3 to 4 hours, and you would not believe how much I get done. It's amazing, and I'm creative the whole time, and I'm thinking, and I'm just in a whole other headspace. But then you've got to answer
all the texts and social media stuff for the next 2 hours that you missed.
No, nobody's allowed to text me. No one has my personal. Nobody. Don't text me.
Fair enough. No, that's good. So really, the distraction with the phone is more you playing on it than people sending you texts or emailing you or doing whatever.
Yeah, the best investment I ever made was an assistant that fields all of that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, which is why you didn't probably get your paperwork that I was supposed to send to you because you came through me and not my assistant.
Oh,
I was like, I should have sent it
I was
to her.
looking. I also looked last night. I was like, man, I wonder if she submitted that. And
so sorry.
It happens.
I should have texted you to send it to Nicole.
It's all right. Well, I mean,
we can still send it to Nicole, and you can get whatever you need.
Yeah,
if that's helpful.
So if you want to send logos or whatever, we'll add the logo
Yes.
to the video sometimes, like in the corner or something. But
Cool.
But for the most part, outside of that, it's more or less just it allows me to prepare a little bit better for the podcast. But you're just like, hey, we're not going to meet. I'm not going to send you this paperwork. You have my Instagram. We're going to go with that, and we'll see how the podcast
do your
goes.
own work.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Yeah, that's the way I run my podcast too. Though it's like
I like to be a little bit prepared because there are specific things. Like we're going to have a guy named Nick Truby. I don't know if you know him. He's a strength and conditioning coach, but he does a lot of research on modern, like whatever's coming out in the world of fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a new machine or like new exercise style or something like that, he likes to kind of keep up with the scientific aspect of some of that stuff. Yep. But he also worked at UK and he did all the different body fat percentage machines. There's like 3 different ones. There's a water one, and so he did all those.
Yeah, I got my kinesiology degree at UK,
so
I've been in all of that. Yeah.
Yes. So I like to do a real research on some of the stuff he's knowledgeable about so that I'm somewhat knowledgeable in my question asking.
I see.
The good thing is your thing is fitness and business, which that's my life. So I feel like I don't have to. We can just riff literally.
Yeah, we've been riffing since I walked in that door.
We can literally just riff off all the things that we've dealt with over the years. I've been at least part-time for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And only last 2 or 3 years full-time on my own. So.
Gotcha. I love that.
I love it.
Okay, so that's
Yes.
Oh, talking to David.
I do.
Both of you?
Yeah, we
My
do.
husband is a very avid disc golfer.
However, it's my roommate that's the real disc golfer. I mean, he has his lifetime earnings are like $300.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
So he's won some like local tournaments or something. So my roommate, he's trying to go pro.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's run into my husband several times.
Oh yeah, especially if is your husband pretty good?
Well, he just started about a year ago, but he is pretty good.
What's his name?
Mark Pike.
Doesn't ring a bell. Yeah, they do Shiloh and veterans a lot. I don't know where he plays.
Shiloh and veterans.
So yeah, but there's an excellent chance that he's seen me. There's a couple guys that run shirtless and do it. But
that's probably him.
Oh, is he do what's he?
He's always barefoot.
Okay.
If you ever see a barefoot man, that's my husband. For real. He barefoots every time.
A shirtless, I never wear a shirt when I'm out there because it's just like,
that's how he is.
Vitamin D.
Yeah, of course.
Give it to me. But there's a couple, but anyways, so I was trying to be known as the shirtless guy, but apparently there's a lot of other shirtless people in disc golf.
We are very into biohacking in general. Where I could go all day on nutrition and sunlight and sleep cycles and all that shit. Back
on for that because I'm into that kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
the biohacking is actually quite interesting.
He's really into grounding. Like we're big believers in
grounding.
Yeah, like taking your shoes off and
Okay,
touching
so
the earth and the ions. So there's ions there's energy literally in the earth, and there's energy in us, and there's a transition of ions that
Wasn't
happen
that
when you're
the whole
grounding.
concept behind the balance band thing?
The what?
Balance band. Remember the balance bands they put on your wrist? That was all based around the ions, supposedly.
I don't know.
So
I don't
could be
know.
wrong.
But I know that the only way to like charge the ions that we have is through negative ions, and you can only find negative ions naturally in the ground. This is where like tree hugger came from. People that are
Right.
hippies would hug trees. You can also get it from touching trees.
Well, that was the whole thing with the balance bands. They try to convince you. They put the negative ion in the.
That's interesting. I
Yeah,
haven't
you
heard
never
of that.
saw that, and they would have you do like the little balance test, and you'd have to stand up.
Well,
and,
I
like,
know that there's like the seasickness bands that have to do with pressure points. Was
Yeah.
it not a pressure point thing?
No, it was a whole thing about negative ions that made you stronger.
Interesting.
I mean, when I was selling them at a kiosk like 10 years ago, I mean, they were popular for like 6 months before they got debunked.
Gotcha.
Like literally, they got so popular, it was Sacramento Kings. It was the Balance Band Stadium. And then like 2 months later, they got hit for being like a fraud.
Well, hey, there's something to be said about the placebo effect, and if it was working for
No,
people,
it 100% worked. Like, because there was this like spiel that I had to give about negative ions and energy and like frequencies or something. I forgot what and then what you would do is you have people do this thing, and then you would push them over, kind of get them off balance, and then you'd put the band on. And then all of a sudden their balance got better. Their balance got better because you'd already taught their body what you're going to do. So your body now knew how to respond.
That's hilarious.
I mean, that's really what it came down to.
Yeah.
Your body was like, okay, he's going to push me over. I am now going to fight against that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This band really does make me stronger.
Right. I know. Seriously. But yeah, if you see someone barefoot disc golfing, that would be my husband.
Okay.
Yeah. He's got all the tattoos. He's definitely going to be shirtless, even if it's 30 degrees
Do you guys
out.
follow Liver King? Ever heard of a guy named Liver King on Instagram? You should check him out. Big biohacker, but they're all about eating organs, a lot of animal organs. I don't know if you guys do that.
I just ate some liver this morning. You can
Yeah.
encapsulate liver. It
Really?
makes it a lot easier to take if you
Just like a pill?
encapsulate it.
Yeah, the Liver
Yeah.
King has like liver pills that he.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I would eat it, or I would take a pill, but I just like.
Yeah, so you can buy empty capsules, and then what we did was we would get livers and we would cut them into very small pieces, and then encapsulate them and freeze them. And so like I would just swallow frozen raw liver.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Have you just tried eating it? How horrible is it?
It depends on how you eat it. So like there's a beef jerky called Anchor, and they have like beef jerky liver jerky, right? It's pretty good.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
And it still has all the nutrients. Okay.
Yep.
Because I mean, this Liver King guy's kind of got me convinced. It's just like I don't. Man, he did this thing where he went through and he ate like bull testicles. Like it was like every 10 feet he was pulling a sled with like 200 or 300 pounds.
Yeah.
This guy's jacked. And he just different organ. And like
yeah,
eats
like we
juice
were
stuff, and I was
created
like,
to eat organ meat. Like we are supposed to eat organ meat.
I mean, it makes sense because it has stuff that our body seems to.
Yeah, in fact,
really
muscle
like.
meat, like what we eat now regularly, mussels, was kind of the like leftover shit that our ancestors ate for filling, right? But the organs came first.
Yeah.
That was always known as the most nutritious part.
Well,
of the
and that's the
animal.
thing. They probably noticed a difference in the way that their bodies, like, because there wasn't a lot of variations probably in their diet. So if
Right.
they were eating just the muscle meat and then they started eating the organs again, they probably felt it. They might have noticed, like, oh, when I eat this, I feel better, or
Right.
like my body performs better.
Right. Well, and there was no wasting of stuff, right? So like the bones. So have you had bone marrow, like right out of the bones?
No, have you?
It's amazing. Oh yeah, we
Does
eat a
it
lot
taste
of bone
good?
marrow. Hell yeah, it tastes good.
Really?
Yeah, like my primal ancestors are speaking through my soul when I eat it. They're like, you need more of this. But we do, I do my own bone broth, right,
Okay.
to try to extract the marrow that way. But also, you can just buy bones, like slit down the middle, and you can bake them. You can put seasoning on the top, and then there's just this marrow that you can just scoop out with a spoon and eat. It's like pudding.
Really? No,
Yeah,
I've never.
very good
I
for you.
think I've got bone broth, so I do like the there's a different kind of broth that's like, you know, it has like 10 grams of protein, like 50
Yeah.
calories. It's like a
Yeah.
powder, and I do that.
Yeah, when I don't make my own bone broth, I use Kettle and Fire, which you can get at Kroger or at Whole Foods, but it's the only brand that I can find that actually uses bone. So a lot of bone broth containers will say bone broth, but there's no like legality behind whether or not they have to use bones. A lot of times it's like vegetable broth or animal broth from the muscle meat being boiled in. So
and
you
they
have
can
to
still get to
look.
that protein content.
Yeah, because it comes from like the meat. But
Right.
yeah, you have to look at the ingredients and see that they're actually using real bones. And I know that Kettle and Fire is one of the companies that does.
Huh. No, I did not know that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that might be my next adventure, right? My biggest thing was figuring out my good workout plan over the last couple of years, and then over the last couple of years I've been eating better. And now that I've got that down, I'm a huge fan of sauna and steam room. I don't know if you sauna and steam room, hot tub. I do a little bit of hot tub. That's usually if I got a sore muscle.
Yeah. You do cold plunges?
Yeah, we got an ice bath. You know what? Before you leave, I'll take you out to the gym.
Okay, perfect.
We got an ice bath. We got a sauna in there. I'm big about recovery. So I think that sleep is. I know a lot of people like Joe Rogan and David Goggins push this push your body, push your body, push your body, which I think that we can push our bodies when we need to. And I think there are times that we need to not be weak and push our body. But I also believe 100% that rest is very important.
Well, Joe Rogan's
Recovery.
and David Goggins are both like 100% in line with cold plunges, steam saunas, rest, recovery, sleep. They're big aura ring people, right?
Yeah. So, but they don't, like, especially Goggins specifically, does not push the recovery part as much. So his big thing is, if you get 2 hours of sleep, you get 2 hours of sleep.
You can sleep when you die.
Yeah, no, but that's his thing. I think there's a percentage of people in this world that genuinely have this motor inside of their body, and they can do that.
Yeah.
But for the average person, you go 2 or 3 days on just a couple hours of sleep and you're doing a lot of physical activities, they start to fall apart because mentally they're starting to fall apart.
Right.
And so David Goggins, his body, believe me, his body is probably not taking it too well.
Yeah.
But mentally he's like, sorry, buddy, we're doing this.
Yep.
We'll deal with this later on in my life.
Yeah.
But I love that mindset. But I think recovery is huge.
Recovery is huge. What kind of sauna do you have?
To be honest, I have no idea. We bought it off somebody, and the control panel actually, we couldn't get it working. So I rewired all the heaters to just plug directly into the wall. Mm-hmm. So now I have no control panel, so the heaters just come on at full blast.
Yeah.
But it's infrared, so it doesn't get that hot.
Gotcha.
So then we put a space heater inside of there, and about every 2 or 3 months we kill the space heater because it gets so hot and they just die, and then I spend $15 and buy another space heater.
Cool. Yeah, we have this room in our house that's like this big, it's like a huge storage closet. When I say huge, I mean it's like the size of this room. It's not massive. But my husband wants to turn it into an actual sauna, like go ahead and get it like insulated and get like a glass door and like do the whole like sauna steam thing. So I want to do that, or we're going to do a barrel sauna. But right now we just have one of those like individual saunas that you can step in.
Yeah,
like
and that's
but we're big into the sauna, and we got
huge.
a cold plunge bath as well. You go out there and break the ice before you can get in, and it's crazy.
I don't do the ice bath as nearly much as I probably should.
Yeah, because it sucks.
It's not fun. So I do it if I know I'm getting into the sauna. But to be honest, 9 times out of 10, I go to the YMCA. Mm-hmm. They got a much bigger sauna, so I don't like enclosed spaces too much, especially when I can't stretch. Sauna is my work. It's like I relax in the sauna, but I also go in there to relax and stretch. So like while I'm in the sauna, I'm trying to do work for my body. I mean, it's a good 20, 30 minutes of dead time to work on the body.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Do you follow Rhonda Patrick?
Mm-mm.
Oh, she's my favorite.
Okay.
She's more like nutritional based. She's not going to give you a ton of fitness advice, but more like nutrition's
good though. I mean, we need that.
Yeah. But she's a huge sauna advocate. I think of her as like the godmother of sauna research right now.
Okay. I'm trying to think. There's a guy. The other big thing. There's another guy on YouTube, and I've watched a lot of his videos, and he talks about how some of these saunas have these electric magnetic pulses that come out, and they're actually not safe. A lot of these infrared, so you got to be careful what's infrared saunas. So that's why I'm a big fan of like the old school, just plug-in heater sauna.
Have you? This is a little off subject, but have you started following the knees over toes guy?
Oh. Is it over here? Let's see if this is in my drawer over here. Yeah.
Yep, there he is. Yeah. Him and his face when he lunges like this.
I'm such a huge fan of him.
He kind of looks like Ben Greenfield in a way.
Well, I mean, now you just opened it up. I mean, because Keaton always says I have to talk about my broken knees.
Has this helped your knees?
100%. Yeah. So I think depending on what level you're at and how committed you are, some of that stuff is really good. But I think there's other stuff that people could be doing to help their knees.
Oh yeah, you got to start with the lowest hanging fruit.
And so I think, like my mom, she did it. I got her on it, and she did it, and I think it helped her knees out some. But one, she did not stick with it as well as she should have. And two, I think that even though some of his exercises can be modified, I think even completely modified, there are just some people that need to start at even lower level than that.
Yeah.
So
to me, with any type of joint pain, you have to start with the lowest hanging fruit, which is inflammation. Like, you have to just start with lowering the amount of inflammation in your body,
right.
Period. And for a lot of people,
that's changing their diet, completely changing their diet.
Yes. And people are completely capable of that if we think they are, right? One of the biggest problems, I think, is that we've decided that people aren't capable of completely changing their diets. That's why you go to the doctor's office and you tell them that you've got bad knee pain, and their immediate thing is that they're going to give you a pill. And the only reason that they do that when they know that it's inflammation based is because they don't think that
they've already accepted that you're not going to
which is bullshit. There's so many people that are capable of changing.
Think about the pandemic, right? So the one of the largest causes of people to get COVID and die from it is obesity, like being overweight. Mm-hmm. Were there any campaigns during the whole entire time that we were pushing vaccines, also pushing a healthy lifestyle?
No, of course not.
Alongside of it. Fine. Let's push the vaccines, right? That's fine. But let's also push a healthy lifestyle. Like, let's also say, hey, this is going to lower your percentage of getting COVID. And if we change our diet, we change our exercise routine. And that's what kills me, is like we're always pushing medicine when a lot of what we need to be pushing is just a healthier lifestyle.
Well, and a lot of that is like financially driven, and we
know
that.
It is.
But also a big part of it is just not believing that people are capable of doing it. And it sucks because there's so many people out there that would kill. They would do anything to get out of back pain, knee pain, hip pain. They would do anything. But no one is telling them, hey, the foods you're eating are what's causing at least 70% of the pain that you're having right now.
Well, and that's maybe like the 10 or 20%. It's the 80% that constantly show up to the doctor and like, I'm not going to do anything.
I know, but my heart goes to those 20%.
Oh, 100%, right?
Like,
yeah, the people that are willing to put the work in.
Yeah, they deserve to know. Nobody's telling them. It makes me crazy.
Because you can't make money that way.
I know.
And that's it's infuriating. So, one of my passions and missions being a personal trainer is to constantly is to just be pushing positivity and other alternatives. Well, it's not even another alternative. It's just something you need to be doing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like,
it's like we look at exercise like, oh, and we should be looking at it as like, this is like going to work. This is like eating. Like, these are just things that we need to be doing for our body. And if we're not doing it, people pay the price.
Well, and it's like, I don't think everyone, quote unquote, should be super healthy, but like, if you want to feel good,
right,
then this is the answer.
Right. Yeah.
If you're totally okay with just normalizing stomach pain and headaches and like lethargy, and I'm not just saying this to be like a dick, there's a lot of people that genuinely are okay with that, and they want the lifestyle that they have, and they don't want to change. And they don't want anything different. Like, fine, do you. But for the people that like genuinely don't understand why they have headaches and lethargy and like brain fog and bloat and just, shit feelings, depression, anxiety, it's like.
Well, and it could be something as small as just a lack of vitamin D. I remember when I moved to Montana and I came back a year later, I got in a job working at a storage unit facility. And I remember driving to work every day and just feeling like in this horrible fog. Like I was fighting to like focus and like live. And I was like, why is this? I ended up going to the doctors and found out my vitamin D or C was like so low that my body was so deficient in it that I like physically, like it affected the way that I function.
Yeah.
But if that's how you've been living for years and you don't know any better.
Yeah. No, a lot of times people don't know any better. I get my blood levels checked very often. I'm a customer of Wild Health. Do you know Matt Dawson over at Wild Health? But so something that I found out is I am a under-methylizer. So the methylization process that happens in your body, people can either methylize normally or they can be under or over methylizers. And one of the biggest symptoms of being an under-methylizer, this has to do with your B vitamins and folate, is if you aren't converting it properly, you have extreme wants to achieve, more anxiety, more needs to like do, and more tendencies for like OCD. And then if you're an over methylizer, it's the opposite. Like it's really hard to get you motivated. It's really hard. And under methylizers have.
Is there a way to normalize it?
Yeah. And under methylizers have a problem with like having compassion for people and understanding people, whereas over methylizers have like too much to where they hear a story about.
Definitely an under if I'm one of the two.
Yeah, they hear like a news story about a kid dying, and it like puts them into a fucking funnel for a week. They're just sort of like spiraling out of control, right?
Is this common?
Yeah. So I'm an under methylizer, so they put me on Methyl Guard, which is a thorn supplement. It's like all the Bs and the folates, and I'm trying to like retrain my body how to transition folate into whatever it transitions into. And anyway, since I started taking it, I have been significantly more relaxed, way less anxiety, way less need for achieving, I don't know. And I just feel way better. And sometimes, so what I'm getting at is sometimes it is as simple as a pill. Like we don't have to always go and like kill ourselves in the gym and like find all of these different ways to feel better. Sometimes it's as easy as getting your blood levels done and realizing that you're low in vitamin D or your B vitamins.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I had never heard of it.
Yeah. I go to, Optimize You.
Yeah.
So I go.
Corey Cope?
I think that's his name.
Yeah.
I don't know his last name, but Corey, I think he's the owner or one of the owners.
Yeah.
Partners, but I take testosterone, and so I go through them, and so I get that. The nice thing about doing that is I get my blood work done every three months, so I can but I don't know if they look for what you're talking about. I'm guessing where you go though, they may do a little bit deeper dive on the blood.
Oh my God, where I go, it's insane. Before you even become a client of theirs, they take your DNA, they take like a massive blood panel, the most blood I've ever given in my life. You have to pee in a cup. And then you have the option to get your microbiome tested as well, where you poop in a cup. I had to breathe in a bag, and they tested my breath, like my
it's
bacteria
official.
in my
Stinks.
breath. Yeah, right. But they tested all of that before they even spoke to me, and I was like,
really?
"Damn, this is."
How much was that to get going though?
I think it's $900 a year.
Oh, okay. So you just pay.
They make it very, very, very.
That's
accessible.
actually not bad.
No.
I mean, when you think of a 900, but I pay, I think, $175 a month for testosterone. So it's well more than 900 a year.
Well, I think the 900 a year is your basic blood panels, and then the service that they provide, like as being on text. Like I have like an app where I can communicate with them all the time.
You go get checked. How often?
Quarterly.
Quarterly. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
So, man, you have you've done a lot, and you've still got a lot to do, or maybe not. It sounds like you're kind of trying to get to that point of like,
now.
Trying to get to that point where it's just kind of like, okay, I've got some things that are working here. We just got to keep managing them.
Yeah, I as far as the businesses go, like I preach this all the time. Like I want to continue to get to myself, to my true self. Like the true essence of Becca Pike is hiking with her dogs, with her kids, gardening, outside, traveling. Like that is legitimately who I am. Now I do love business. I'm going to see you rolling around in
an RV. I'm going to be seeing
sure.
like the whole family. This
sure.
RV living now.
Yeah. And I do love business, and I love talking business, but I want to do that to support the real version of me, right? And now we're at the point where the company has grown far beyond what I thought it could. Like I had never considered, I was never trying to be like a self-made millionaire by any means. Like it just, when it happens, it's like, oh shit, like I could retire. Right. Like I could just be done for a while, and
well, I mean, the Massage Strong probably brings in enough money to where you could, probably live off that without doing the business stuff. So, I mean, I think it's great that you're continuing. I mean, you're doing the way anybody that should be doing a business, right? If you want more free time, you're doing it the exact way that I think I would be doing it too.
Yeah, and the coaching world, the brick and mortar Massage Strong is a lot of fun, but it has a lot of overhead, and it requires paying a lot of people, paying a lot of money. We had to take out business loans to build those. There's a lot of overhead that goes into it, and a lot of effort and a lot of work and managing of people and construction.
Right.
And so, yes, it brings in a lot of money, and I'm very happy with it. But then I've got Hell Yes Coaching, which has almost no overhead, and it brings in even more money than Massage Strong at this point. And it's just like, I don't know if I'll ever open another brick and mortar again.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm saying with the Massage Strong, though, you can pretty much, if you decided today that you wanted to be pretty much hands off, right?
Yeah.
Outside of probably some basic administrative stuff, you could.
Yeah.
Where the coaching, you do have to be somewhat engaged with the coaching if you're going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I definitely would have to be engaged in the podcast, but I could technically build the coaching industry or the coaching business in a way where I hire someone to coach inside of 3 more weekly, a really bomb-ass
and
business
you could kind of have the
coach.
same setup.
And I could do the exact same thing, right? So I could easily be retired
Right.
if I wanted to.
Do you worry at all about like people being like, I came for you and not some other person?
No.
Or would you still be somewhat involved anyways?
No, I mean, I would be very clear with everyone. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it would be in the contract or something. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm never worried about here's the truth. Like, I'm never worried about taking transitions that is going to deflect people, because I will just then problem solve how to just get more people. There is an abundance of people out there that need business coaching, an abundance of people that want what I have, regardless of if it's me teaching it or if it's just
Right.
me in the videos or whatever it is. No matter what transition you take in your business, no matter what choice you make or decision you make, you just problem solve to create demand for
Problem
that.
solve's fun, actually. Personally, I enjoy a good problem solve.
Yeah.
Especially once it officially is solved. I'm like, oh my God, it feels so
Yeah.
good.
When people have problems in their business and they get all bent out of shape, I'm like, listen, a puzzle was placed in front of you. You just need to solve it now. And then when you solve it, it's going to unlock a
Right.
lot more money.
Because
or
if
a
you don't
lot more
solve it,
freedom.
then it's just going to cause more problems. So
Yeah.
you,
So
you know,
just
you got to sit
down,
back and figure it
solve
out.
Yeah, and move on.
Yeah,
It's not a
exactly.
problem.
Well, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, maybe we'll have you on again down the line. It sounds like there's a whole section of biohacking that we could go down,
Yes.
and that's a whole fun subject, which I haven't had anybody else on that knows enough about it that we could dive into it. So I think
Yeah.
it would be very interesting. But yeah, here's your chance to plug and talk, or let everybody know about your businesses, and if they haven't already figured that out by now, I mean, that's all we've been talking about for the last hour and a half.
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @1Becca Pike. You can also follow my podcast, The Hell Yes Entrepreneur, on all major podcasting platforms. And yeah, you can come check out my website, Hell Yes Coaching Online.
She's got a great podcast. You guys should definitely check it out. I mean, I listen to it, so
It is super fun.
it's got a lot of good, valuable information. A little bit different format than me, but still very entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe that I'm allowed to just have a mic in my face.
Just
talking shit about life. Just
And
living my
for some
best
reason,
life.
people want to listen to
And
it.
then people listen to it. It's amazing. I don't
It
understand.
really is. It really is. Anyways, but yeah, thanks for coming on, and maybe we'll see you down the line.
Thank you for having me.
All right.